Hello and welcome to the Sip and Draw. I am not going to go on camera on this for these pre-recorded videos. I haven't been, and I woke up like maybe 20 minutes ago. So the last thing you all need to see is me right now. This Sip and Draw is a little bit different because it is not live, so you're just watching a pre-recorded video. I don't have an opportunity to really engage with you or talk to you or reply to your comments. I hope you still enjoy the drawing. It will be, you'll be seeing this at 8:30 tomorrow, or tonight. No, tomorrow night, at 2 nights. I don't even know what day it is. It's Thursday. I'm doing this so far in advance that, yeah, I'm kind of forgetting everything now. So real quick, you will need something circular for this. So we are drawing something within a circle, and for this, I really want a perfect circle. So get yourself, the lid to something works really good, or a small bowl. Something that's going to give you a nice circle on the page. And since this isn't live, you have the beauty of pausing it right now and going and finding your circular item. I will be doing the drawing. I'm going to be coloring just a little bit. I'm not going to color too much because typically in the Sip and Draws, that's really when we have the opportunity to kind of chit chat with each other. But since I'm alone, that's a little tricky. So let's get started on our drawing. If you want to give yourself a drinking word for this, I would say the word curve. Let's go back to our word curve. If you don't want to get quite as hammered, maybe do the word whale. So to start, I'm going to erase this random line I just made on my page, and I am going to trace my lid. So I give myself that perfect circle as long as I don't move my lid. And there we go. I think you guys can see that well enough. I'm actually going to take this in closer. So I know, you heard we're doing an ocean theme and probably thinking, well, why are we doing it in a circle? I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do like a big whole full page or just give you a couple ocean items. So we're kind of concentrating all of our drawing within this space. So down here at the bottom is actually where our whale is going to live. And the cool thing about this, you don't need to make this line very dark. We are not keeping this line. So when we are done with our drawing, all of this outside edge is going to be erased. It's just there right now to give you more of a guide. So here inside this circle, kind of off to the lower half is kind of where my whale's going to fit. I'm going to do a line that curves up and it doesn't have to be perfectly, it can have some wave to it because again, it is the whale's body. It's going to dip down and then come back up. So notice how it got smaller. This is kind of more the head of the whale, which I want to elongate this nose a little bit. Make it a little more narrow at the end. There we go. And then it comes back to the tail end. That works. Now, once you have this shape on, you're going to put the tail in, and the tail is actually going to live both in and out of the circle. We're going to have a couple little things that come out of our circle. The tail will be one of them. So for the tail, I'm going to curve this line out. And then I'm going to bring it in and around. Make that a little pointier. And then I'm going to complete the rest of it on the other side, just repeating that shape I just made. And that shape comes right back into the circle. So see that? The tail's here. I'm going to put a little bit of waviness into this tail line. There we go. I like that better. Make this a little bit wider. Just kind of matching those two sides up. So there's the start of our whale and the tail. Or you could drink every time I rhyme. That hopefully will be the last time. Now the side, we're going to do another fin that comes out of the page. So you're just going to do a line that curves out, and then right about when you get to the edge of this circle, drop it down, curve it around, and bring it back in. I actually want that a little more narrow, so I'm just going to bring that in a little bit. That looks better. I'm not going to do the fin that's in the back. So we're just seeing everything that's in the front here. Again, because we're kind of assuming everything is fitting in the circle. We're just sneaking a couple little items out of the circle. If that bothers you and you want to throw another fin down here on the bottom, you're more than welcome. And now the whale's eye is going to live just a little up from this fin. And I'm just going to do kind of a seed shape. I'm going to curve a line up and then curve a line down. I'll do a little line over. Some curved lines inside of my whale. And a circle of light inside the eye. And now we'll add the mouth, and the mouth is going to come kind of up off of this end, and it's going to curve up and back down towards the fin, but I'm not going to actually connect it with the fin. I'm going to do another line that follows that shape, so it kind of ends up with almost a lip. And then just for more decorative pieces, I'm going to do some lines in this lower half. And that's our whale. Isn't that pretty? I don't know. There's something pretty, I think, about it being in that circular shape. And we're going to add some kind of fun stuff in there. Okay, focus. There we go. So next, I actually want to kind of tackle some water. And this water, I'm going to do very similar to what I did when we did that delta drawing. So I'm going to just kind of start here on the side. I'm going to do some curved lines that come down into the whale. Now I'll curve some this way that follow the whale, and I'm going to have these come to that water point. And then maybe some that just come right into it. Now let's have one that comes up this way. And curves around. I curved that a little too much. See, I mean, if you guys are drinking on the word curve, Lord help you. That's what this whole drawing is curves. So I'll do that, and then I'll divide this shape up with a couple other, you want to guess, curved lines. Put one right there. I'm just going to do one. I'll leave this shape right here, maybe put a little end to it, little line coming down, and then I could do a curved line inside that to break it into two sections. I'm going to do more of this like I had over here, just these curved lines that are kind of layered on top of each other. Do one more. And then I want some coming from the other direction. So I'm going to have this come up. Another. And another. And let's do a big wave. And let's divide this into some sections. I think I'll divide it into 3. And I'm going to do, let's see, some of these curves in here. There's no rhyme or reason to this. You're just kind of filling in the space a bit until you feel like you have enough water on your page. Maybe I'll have one. Let's see, I want this to curve this way as well. Maybe this one curves down more and comes into the tail, and then I'll divide that into 2. So we will have outline line. Like I said, there's no outline line. That's not entirely true because we will see an outline along this bottom edge, of course, anywhere that there is an object drawn. But up towards the top, we will not have, so this portion I'm going to actually erase off. If you wanted to keep it and you wanted the whole thing to actually be inside of a circle, you can definitely do that. Some people will like the look of that, of having the whole thing framed, and you can do that also. I'm not quite done with my water. I'm going to do one more right in here. Divide this up. And then I'm going to actually add some little teardrop splashes periodically around the page inside the circle. As if, you know, the water is splashing up in certain places. I don't want too many of them, but I'm going to put a couple. And that looks pretty Pretty good. I'm going to erase this line, kind of take everything in. Now in the whale, you can do some things here. So you can, you know, leave it plain. You could make it look more kind of speckly, or playing off of what we did last week, you could add floral design into the whale. You could do geometric shapes and patterns as well. You guys getting a little bit of morning crackle voice, sorry. But I'm just going to do flowers. So I'm putting one kind of right here. I'll put one here. I'm going to start with kind of a wavy shape in the center and then build petals off of it. Do one off the back that kind of comes into the side of the whale. Do one over here, and this one will have a little fold over. And then one on this side. I'll make this the center, so I'm going to put some little stems with circles so it looks more floral. And then you could draw kind of leaf patterns behind it. I'm not going to do that. I actually really, I don't know. Sometimes I don't like doing the leaves. I like the look of just the clean flower. And I'm just going to do some lines in the flower. I'm doing those really light right now. And then let's put one more back here by the tail. And again, not really any like rhyme or reason. I'm not really going for a certain flower per se. Just kind of doing these soft, almost like a peony in a way, these soft petals. And I'm going to leave it at that point. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill a lot of this back space with dots. But for now, that is my outline work. So I'm now going to come in with my black pen, and that's not the right size pen. And I'm going to outline everything. I ordered new pens because I noticed that all of mine are either getting a little bit, they start to get a little bit frayed, or they're just running out of ink. And man, I don't know if anybody else is having this issue, but Amazon again is doing not great with their deliveries. You know, when quarantine started, of course, it was a little bit awkward. Things were taking longer, and that was fine. And I mean, it's even fine now, but I've had deliveries where it says it's going to be delivered. I've had something that has said it's going to be delivered 3 times. I had a driver the other day who left the package at the end of my driveway, And you know how Amazon now has to take that picture to show you where your package is? Like, here, look, we left your package. He literally took the picture at the end of the driveway. But the way he took it, to anyone else, you might not realize that that's where it is because he just kind of included sidewalk, but he almost left it behind our car tire. A package got delivered to the neighbors the day before yesterday. It's been really, really bad the last like couple weeks. So I ordered pens 2 weeks ago, and they were said they were coming in 2 days, and they're still not here. The delivery keeps getting changed. It's almost, to be honest, I'm actually having worse luck right now than I had during like the full quarantine. Like when quarantine first started, Amazon got a lot slower, but nothing like it is right now. So there you go. There's my Amazon chit chat rant for today. This is what you get when you have morning Stacy drawing nighttime activities, is you get rant Stacy. I think this is when I do my best ranting. Now I did order some other pens that did arrive. I should focus on the things that have come through well. And I'm actually going to use them today. So you're going to get exposure to something a little bit different. I talked about them, I think, last week, that I was getting them to try. I have no idea how they're going to react on top of this black pen. And I did not draw this on watercolor paper. So that was probably mistake number one. But at most it'll just kind of bleed through. Or it's going to blur my pen lines. But I'm not starting the drawing over. I should have thought about the paper part. Just going through all of this little outline. This is a kind of drawing I would tattoo. Kind of has that tattoo style to it, being drawn in that circle. I actually want to do a tattoo that is kind of this circle style, but I want to do camping theme, like a camping woodsy theme. That shape. Almost done. And since I'm erasing that top line, you know, if you want to wait and see if you like that, or if you want to keep it on the page, you can wait till I erase it and see what it looks like. And if you think, I like it better when it has that line on top, then you don't have to erase yours. You can use mine as the model. The dots and details that I'm going to do inside the whale, except for these little guys, I'm going to do those afterwards. And the little lines on the petals, even though I know I put them in pencil, I'm going to do them at the end. So there is my ocean whale drawing. And now I'm going to erase all of the pencil that's left behind, as well as the outside edge pencil of the circle. And then, like I said, if you see it and you think, oh, I liked it better when we saw a full circle, then just know, outline your circle, outline the whole thing. I kind of like it like this just because I think your eye like builds the circle. It finds the circle in the shape without the circle actually being there. But you see them both ways. You see a lot of drawings like this that still have the circle all the way around it. And there we go. How pretty is that? It's like it's not very complicated. And there's something very beautiful about it. We should have drank every time I sounded ridiculous. Or every time I said, what did I do? Oh, I did a rhyme. That's what I did. So I'm going to come in with these pens. Okay, so I got these pens. Let me show them to you. I got these on Amazon. 24 real brush pens. This is the brand Rayon. And they're watercolored pens. But what they come with, so they have, you know, this variety of colors. But then they have a water marker. So you take that water marker and you can blend and make it look more watercolored. I'm probably not going to be able to do that too much today because I didn't use watercolor paper. If you get something like that, you definitely want to get watercolor paper. Even these papers that say, I mean, this one says sketch, but even the ones that say kind of all-purpose, they just don't work as well. So you can see they're brushes. So they go on like a brush. And then you can take this that you fill with water. And see, it might not do it because it's not the right paper. And this will end up blending. If you're on watercolor paper, you actually will see it like blend it out and it'll blend it in. It's totally not working today. So epic fail, I might switch to pencils. So there you go. Note to self, use watercolor paper. Sketch paper, it is not going to work. But the pens are really cool. They just have this really nice like brush tip. And they even colored different on the watercolor paper. But you can see that a little bit. It started to try to blend it, but it's not going to do it as well on the paper. So I'm just going to go back to pencil. So let me find a gray. This is going to look a little bit odd, but that's all right. Won't be the first one I've done that looks a little weird. And the main reason I'm stopping from using the other pens is because kind of the point of them is to not just color the whole thing in with just the pen. It's to actually use that blender so you end up with like a watercolor look. Otherwise, you might as well just color with a pen because you're just going to be using up all of the actual ink. That watercolor, the water pen, the one that you fill with water, you can refill that. So as you know, your water runs out, you refill it with water. So you're kind of relying on that pen more to kind of, again, help you get that watercolor look. You've all seen watercolors and they're not colored in, it's not like a solid look to it. I'm going to try to find a pencil that will blend that thin in a little bit more, but I'm going to have to do this drawing again and do it with those watercolor pens on watercolor paper, because this is the kind of drawing that would look very cool in like a watercolor type style coloring. And like I said, I'm not going to color the whole thing in. I was coloring more of it in those pens just to kind of show you how they work, but I have failed you because I did not think clearly through what paper I would need. And this sketch paper just doesn't want, it just doesn't want water. Watercolor paper soaks that water. I'm gonna do this area darker. I'll do my whale in and then kind of leave you guys once it's at the water portion. The water you're going to do very similar. If you joined me for the sip and draw where we did kind of the grapevine and the river, you're kind of doing that same thing where you're just doing, you know, pick yourself about 3 to 5 blues and just layer them all within this. Have kind of some light blues, some dark blues. If you're working in pencil, some of them you can touch really light with and others you can go really dark with. So this is now the third video I've recorded just in video without having the interaction. And even though you guys, you know, or even the kids, there's not a ton of talking that goes on, but there is some interaction and I miss it. I don't think I could do drawing tutorials necessarily that I like the live component. I mean, I know you guys there's some people who like watching it when it's over, because it's easier for them to draw and to be able to pause and whatnot. I totally understand that because I do that myself, but I do have to say I really like the live component. This paper is like wet right there because it's just not soaking in that water. It's actually bleeding more while we've sat here. I don't know if you can see that, but the watercolor effect is happening. It's just happening very slow. On watercolor paper, you start to get the bleeding. That's kind of what it does. It kind of makes the pens bleed, but lets you spread them around. And that works. Doing a little bit of darkness within here kind of ties in that fin. We could also do a little bit back in the tail. And I might come in with at least the blender pencil and blend this in a bit. There, I like that. Let me get this guy. It's not changing that too much, but it will back here. So I'm just using this blender pencil to kind of blend out that edge and have that shaded area just kind of naturally flow into the whale. And a little bit under here. There we go. That looks good. And now for the flowers, I'm going to do an orange. I'm going to do it on the lighter side. And then I'm going to come in and do some darkening. So I'm going to start with just this, keeping them all light. I'm going to do them all the same color. There's going to be so much color variance in the blues that I kind of just want the flower and the whale to be a little more simple. We decided to do ocean, and I, thought maybe we'll do a beach. I've done a couple of fun, cutesy beach drawings, and then I just had this kind of idea. I was looking around at different things and saw a circular drawing and thought, ooh, let's do something like that. So something different again, something it's not realistic per se, but it's a little more, it's less cartoony. So again, I'm just kind of coming a little bit darker towards the bottom on some of these petals, not all of them, but just some. And then I'm going to sharpen my pencil and get it fairly sharp. And remember those little lines I had in the petals? I'm going to do those in the pencil. Remember, I erased them. And I'm going to do those darker. So just like that. Just adding some little detail in. Just like that. And now I'm going to take a pen and do a dot pattern in the tail. And you probably can't even see that, but when it's all done, you might be able to see it a little bit more, and I'll zoom in and show you. But just adding some texture and another little graphic element, even though it's just dots. And they don't have to be in a row, but you should have them where they're pretty evenly distributed. So you don't want a bunch together over here, but then over here there's big gaps in between. So sometimes you'll have to just put them on the page and then go back and see where you need to add and fill in. And I'm going to do this basically till, I'm not going to come all the way up. I'm going to kind of fade them in by the fin right here. There we go. Now you could put them on the whole thing. You can not do them at all. It's completely up to you. Like I always say, I never want to dictate what you should and shouldn't do. Doing other line work in here would be really pretty. I'm going to take a row of them out to the edge. Doing those little, you could do those little curly cues, you know, off of the flowers. That would look neat. So see, just that just adds a little element. And then you're just going to find, you know, the watercolors you want. See, I always say I'm going to stop, and then I'm like, ah. This is actually so short, too, in comparison to our normal sip and draws, but it might take you a little bit longer, especially if you're pausing. I'm going to do just a couple of these. You'll come in with your blues and you'll color all this in. And what I just try to do is I try not to have, you know, two colors right on top of each other. Like I might, you know, I'll put this one here, but I'll color a different one here. Sometimes they might touch on a small point. Like, you know, if I use this here and then one of these was the same color, that's okay. I just don't want two of the large spaces to be exactly the same color side by side. I want to space them out a bit. And I think you could even get away with 3 blues. I mean, you could get away with 2 blues even, but I probably would use 3 and do some of them lighter. I mean, you could even color the shade next, or the space next to this, but just color it lightly. And then it's going to look like the same tone, but a lighter shade. So it will look different. Turn that page. And sometimes you can start with a blue and then just put it anywhere that you know, put this blue all over in different places and then grab your next one. Or if you feel better about, you know, finishing this shape and then finishing this shape and then finishing this shape, you can do it that way too. Usually I kind of like to take the color and then just put it in any of the spaces that I want it to be in before I move on to the next color. And I might even leave some of what's in here white. or at least do it a very, very light blue. It doesn't all have to be solid. You always do see some, you know, some white in the crashing of the waves. Well, let me just do one more color. So I'll put this here. And you can follow the same pattern too. Like if you put, you know, this color next to this one, you could do that all the time. That actually gives some nice consistency in the drawing. It looks purposeful versus just, well, since it was early and I'm forgetful, I forgot to put do not disturb on, and a phone call just came in and it ended my my video. So I'm going to just finish quickly and then I will edit them together. You will probably see a weird little moment. This is what happens when Stacy tries to do this too early in the morning. She makes mistakes and she talks about herself in the third person. It's actually really funny. Yesterday I did one of the videos, Friday's video. Yesterday I was doing Friday's video, and I finished it and I told my husband, I said, oh my gosh, I forgot to put do not disturb on my phone on. And I was kind of, by the time I had done the video yesterday, I was very just kind of done drawing. It was my 5th time drawing yesterday. Which is why I'm doing this today and I didn't do it yesterday. And I said, oh, I'm so glad my phone didn't ring. I probably would have thrown my phone across the room, just been done. He said, well, can't you just edit 2 videos together? I'm like, this is why we're married, honey. So you guys get an edit. And let's just color 2 of these in. And then you'll just continue and you'll add all your other different blues and layer them. And, you know, I would do a lot more of these 2 colors all throughout. And then you'll have your beautiful ocean whale. So thank you very much. I hope you guys still had fun and still came and drew with your friends. I can't wait to see your drawings, so definitely load them up to the page for me so I can check them out. And I will see you guys again live next week. Thank you. Bye.